What's up guys, Mad Max here, and today I'm with my Wrangler 392 and I'm going to talk about a huge modification that I did to increase the fuel mileage on this truck. Now in previous videos I did talk about how this truck gets horrible gas mileage, so I did something pretty drastic that cost a lot of money, but was pretty simple to do to save a lot of fuel in this thing. So let me show you what I did. Bought a Fiat 500 electric. Okay, I know, total clickbait, but I mean, come on. So, this is my 2014 Fiat 500e. I bought this at a Mannheim auction in Tampa, right around the time of Hurricane Ian, and unfortunately, it did not get shipped out in time, so it sat in Tampa through Hurricane Ian. Luckily, the hurricane didn't hit badly, so the car didn't get damaged or anything. So this car has the sport package, which is a stretch because it makes 111 horsepower, but it gives you the black lights, the orange mirrors, the stripe, which part of it's missing there because the front end's been repainted, blacked out taillights, and some orange interior accents. Okay, so under the hood we have a big plastic engine cover. This thing is just covering up some big electronics, and I will tell you that the motor itself is about the size of a watermelon, makes about 111 horsepower and 147 foot-pounds of torque, according to what I saw online. It actually makes for a pretty zippy little city car. It is not so bad to drive, but yeah, nothing to really see under here. Inside is where we get a little bit of a difference between a regular 500e and a sport package as well. You have the black and orange accents, and a couple big differences with the 500e is this fully digital cluster, which is not bad. You have the charge indicator right there, and then you have this little thing, which people go, what is that? Well, let me show you what that's for. It's for this, a TomTom, which actually, believe it or not, just clips in like that. I am actually very surprised this made it through the auction and somebody didn't steal it, but I guess the technology is so appallingly bad on this TomTom that nobody even wanted it. So, you see the cluster. Oh, let me show you also. No push button start here. Got a regular key. Got to turn it like a regular key. Everything powers up. So, in terms of gear shifter, you just have a push button shifter instead of a shift lever or a stick in a manual one. And the final thing that you'll notice in these 500Es is that the seat will come forward for me. The rear seat floor is actually about 4 inches higher than a regular 500. And it's got like these little pad things here. But you can see it's a little shorter, and that's just to fit the batteries in the back. Show you the trunk real quick. Might as well since we're here. I got my Harbor Freight haul from the other day still back here, which I haven't unloaded. I fit 5 cases of water back here pretty easily. I'm actually pleasantly surprised with what this can hold, but I think it's time to get this thing out on the road, and we'll talk a little bit more about this car and its history. Okay, so let's take this thing out for a ride. Starting off, why was this vehicle created? Well, California Air Resources Board came up with some sort of zero emission policy and mandated that manufacturers had to sell a certain percentage of their vehicles as zero-emission vehicles. So instead of pulling out of California completely, FCA said, maybe we should make an electric car. So they went through their entire lineup, picked this, and electrified it. They got the motor from Bosch. I believe they actually got all of the electronics from Bosch, but I'm not 100% on that, so don't quote me on that. They basically redesigned the floor. They put some aerodynamic treatments on it, like the extended rear spoiler, different side skirts, different front and rear bumpers to get the drag coefficient a little bit better. And they sold this thing for a shocking, no pun intended, $33,000 when new. Now, as insane as a $33,000 Fiat 500, when a gasoline one was like, nicely equipped, was like 18 grand or something, what's more shocking is that even at that price, FCA lost something like $12,000 or $13,000 a car. In fact, the CEO of FCA at the time, Sergio Marchionne, he publicly said, please do not buy this car, we lose so much money on them. I swear, he literally said, do not buy this car, it costs us too much money to build these things. It does not make sense. Now, $33,000, who would buy this? Well, nobody really bought them, they leased them. And they had a $199 a month lease program in California, and people liked them. The issue was, at the end of the lease, the cars weren't really worth anything. Fiat 500s have terrible resale value, so these cars ended up being really cheap. They've come up in recent years just because, you know, COVID and the whole nine with that, but they still are pretty cheap. And, you know, for sub $10,000, I figured this was a great way to get into the electric vehicle market. Now, why did I buy this car? Well, I wanted to get into an EV, but I wanted to kind of dip my toes into it. And, hold on, let me spin the tires a little bit. I wanted to get into a cheap EV, and I wanted something that was interesting. The Smart Electric is stupid because it has no trunk space and no back seat. Not that I really use a back seat, but the no trunk space is a real killer. And everything else, you know, Nissan Leaf is ugly as sin. Range is not good. Range isn't great on this either, but it's significantly better. EPA rated this car at 85 miles. On a warm day, I will tell you that I've gotten in the 80s in terms of range. In the cold, 50. The range is not great. If this car had a real usable 100 miles of range, I would be a lot happier with it. But, I mean, I bought it as a runaround car, just to run around town, errands, etc., and to save fuel. And it's great for that. You can park it anywhere. It's zippy around town, believe it or not. It's great for what it is. I've had it on the highway. I've had it up to about 80-ish. I know the limiter is at 88. I have not hit the limiter. But I will tell you that doing 80 miles an hour, the range drops at an alarming rate. It's really made for around town, very little highway usage. But overall, it's not a bad car to drive. I mean, it's fun. It handles pretty well. Corners very well because the weight is down low. I don't know if you saw, I kind of threw the car into that corner a little bit quickly. But yeah, it's a lot of fun to drive, and people seem to like it. It made sense to me at the time, and I do think it is a lot of fun to own. One big issue that I ran into is that, as I said, it does not like cold weather in terms of range. The other week, when it got down into the single digits here in New Jersey, the car refused to drive. It told me, buzz off, I'm not going anywhere today, it's too damn cold. It actually gave me a turtle symbol in the cluster and just straight up refused to drive. So if you live in a really cold climate, this is a definite avoid. If you're looking at this as an only vehicle, this is also an avoid because of the range. For me, because I have multiple cars, you know, oh no, I have to drive 50 miles one way. I can't take the Fiat. I'll hop in the Jeep. I'll hop in my Audi. I got other stuff to drive, so it doesn't really matter to me. But to somebody like you that's looking at this and thinking, oh yeah, I could have this as my primary car, I don't think I would do it. For people that live in the city, I also wouldn't do it because charging is an issue with electric cars. So I have a home charger, doesn't matter to me, I plug it in. But if you live in a big city like New York or LA, well, LA you probably have an easier time finding chargers, but if you live in large cities, charging infrastructure is a little difficult. And this car doesn't have DC fast charging. It's a level 2 charger, which, even on a level 2 charger, this thing will fully charge from dead in 3 hours. So it's still pretty quick on charging, but just keep it in mind. But yeah, if you're looking for like a little commuter car to save fuel on, let's say you got a big pickup truck in the driveway, you have a relatively short commute and you just don't want to drive it and want to kind of put some miles on something else and save some fuel, this is great. I mean, it cost me $3 to charge it up from dead to full. And as I said, I get anywhere from 50 to 80 miles on a charge. So, you know, price-wise, it's a pretty damn good car to drive. So the big question is, what do I do with this? So part of me wants to put some EV-rated tires on, do some aerodynamic modifications, and try and improve the range as much as possible. And the other part of me kind of wants to put sticky tires on it, slam it, maybe autocross it, and have some fun with it. What do you think I should do with this unloved EV? You think I should maybe make this a little handler? You think I should try to hypermile this thing, or do you never want to see this again? Let me know, and hope you enjoyed this video. Bye for now.